Alrighty then, my royal chums, it is I, Daniel, you may call me the Pop Culture Dude, and I'm just gonna make this small, quick announcement before I start the video. I have reached 1,000 subscribers, and that is totally nuts that I have reached this milestone, so I thank you guys so much for subscribing to my content. For you who are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, leave that like, hit the notification bell for future uploads on this channel. But anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, the revival news of the iCarly series on Paramount+. The most recent iCarly revival news have becoming a mixed bag lately, and what I mean by is, obviously, the good news when it was first announced, like, yay, Miranda Cosgrove, Jerry Traynor, Nathan Chris are gonna come back as Carly, Freddie, and Spencer, right? Yes, they are set in production to be a part of this, as it will come out later this year when Paramount Plus starts streaming on March 4th, and you could definitely see the proof. We definitely see the cast members just being a character and learning how to revisit their roles in front of the audience on television again.
10, 9, 8. Wait, did I always start on 10?
Guys, come on. Brian Robbins is going to throw to us any second.
Whatever we do, we cannot let on that we haven't shot the show yet, okay?
No, it's fine. They want to see if we still got it.
Oh, is that all? Because I've got workmen digging a hole in my backyard for my new pool as we speak.
You rent that house.
Maybe I start on 3, but with confidence. This used to be so easy.
Hey! Listen up. We've done this before, and we're going to do it again. America's going to be quoting our new catchphrases in no time. And if anyone has any doubts, just leave it all to me. Yep, still got it. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, guys.
So I'm happy for Miranda, Nathan, and Jerry decide to come back as their main characters, but you want to know what's one fan favorite major character that still hasn't confirmed to come back? It's Sam Puckett, aka the actress who plays the character. It's Jennette McCurdy. And if you're wondering, how come Sam is not going to come back to the revival? Well, for those of you who do know this, then you probably will remember this. But for those who don't know about it, Jennette McCurdy has a very, let's just say, complicated but also controversial backstory from what she has with Nickelodeon. And technically, from the aftermath of that, this leads to the confirmation that Jennette McCurdy has completely quit acting 100%. And so, meaning as in, she will not return as Sam Puckett in iCarly, the upcoming revival. And if you don't believe me, allow me to read you the news. iCarly's Jennette McCurdy confirmed she's quit acting and she's embarrassed by her roles. During her latest podcast episode, iCarly Alum, Jennette McCurdy says she doesn't foresee ever acting again and shared, "I resent my career in a lot of ways." Although iCarly fans continue holding out hope that Jennette McCurdy would change her mind and return for the show's upcoming revival, they be well advised not to hold their breath. Jeannette, who now hosts the podcast Empty Inside, played Sam Puckett for 6 seasons on the Nickelodeon show that signed off in 2012, and she later reprised the role on Sam and Cat opposite Ariana Grande. During a recent podcast interview with Anna Faris, Jeannette confirmed she considered herself done with acting and revealed she is not particularly proud of her previous shows. "I quit a few years ago to try my hand at writing and directing. It's going great," she said with a self-deprecating laugh. "I quit a few years ago because I initially didn't want to do it. My mom put me in it when I was 6, and by sort of age, I guess 10 or 11, I was the main financial support for my family. My family didn't have a lot of money, and this was the way out, which I actually think was helpful in driving me to some degree of success." Jeannette, 28, explained that always acting was difficult for me as she had a tough time dealing with nerves during auditions. "Once I started to get the nerves under control was when I started to actually get some traction. But ultimately quit after my mom passed away because her death kind of died a lot of her ideas for my life. That was its own journey and a difficult one for sure," she shared. Anna asked if she would ever return to acting, and indeed, many fans hoped Jeannette would reunite with Miranda Cosgrove and other iCarly cast members on the upcoming revival. Jeannette responded that she'd return as a thespian for her one-woman show, I'm Glad My Mom Died, which debuted in Los Angeles in February 2020 and explore her mom's 2013 death from cancer, but she considers it a one-off. Jeez, this story is starting to become dark the more I read it. "I wrote this one-woman show, and I performed that I really did not want to because of the nerves," she recalled, "because I'm feeling like I don't want to effing act anymore. I'm done, so I did it just for that show, but I think that one-woman show would be the most of it." Jeannette later went into detail about the embarrassment she felt regarding the type of project she landed. My experience with acting is, I'm so ashamed of the parts I've done in the past, she said. I resent my career in a lot of ways. I feel so unfulfilled by the roles that I play, felt like it was the most cheesy, embarrassing. I did the shows that I was on from like 13 to 21, and by 15, I was already embarrassed. My friends at 15, they're not like, oh cool, you're on this Nickelodeon show. It was embarrassing, and I imagine there was a very different experience to be had with acting, if you're proud of your roles and if you feel fulfilled by them. As for whether she could ever imagine return to acting, Jeannette said it may depend on getting an opportunity to collaborate with a director she really admired. She continued, I feel like I have a point of view, and I have a vision. We'll see where things are in a few years. Wow, that was a pretty deep story. But understanding from where Jeannette, I could tell she's been through a lot, through a bunch of childhood drama, and the fact that how much when she stepped into her acting career, she did it for the sake of she needs to benefit from her family, from her financial struggle, particularly her mother, who was diagnosed with cancer by 2013, which basically changed her life. Rather, it's for the good purposes, but most of the majority, it really changed her in a negative way. And due to the times where she feels embarrassed by her own performance in iCarly and the times that she did from her previous shows, I could tell that she's not satisfied with her past at all. And I hate to say this, I just feel sorry for Jeannette from the way that she just feels mentally abused just because she doesn't feel like in a place where she can actually feel better about it. So it makes sense why she's into writing and directing, so she can escape from her past and how it really impacts to her from her reputation, and the fact that she sometimes just negative side of her just usually criticize about her past self and why she regrets and why she considers it embarrassing. So all of this makes a lot of sense for why she will never come back to the iCarly revival. But when it comes to acting, she says it's up to the right director that she really admires. So sorry for you iCarly fans and the fact that Jeannette will not reprise the role for Sam Puckett, because I understand she went through a lot during her younger years. She doesn't want to think that she wants to revisit her past for what makes her feel embarrassed like since the beginning, and wants to move on to projects that makes her feel more about herself. So yeah, hate to say it, but that's the sad news, guys. So for a couple of changes, that the new iCarly revival, like Carly's gonna get a new best friend who's a fashion stylist, and Freddie's gonna have a social media obsessed stepdaughter who's somewhat inspired by Carly's online show iCarly. And the sad news is the producer Jay Coogan, or Coogan, whatever I want to say his last name, he eventually stepped out of the production, not just because like the Dan Schneider foot fetish story, is the fact that he and Miranda Cosgrove had created differences. So I'm not sure what's left for the future of the iCarly revival. I mean, Miranda, Nathan, and Jerry seems to be on board, but since the studio wants to release the show later on this year so it could be part of the streaming service, they just need to get things ready ASAP. So Sam is definitely out of the production for sure. But what about Gibby? I don't know for sure. Since they don't have a showrunner and since Sam's not coming back, there's going to be some new characters. I'm just not sure how they're going to continue the show. So it just leads to a big mystery, guys. So sorry to bring this sad news to tell you, but this is all for the iCarly fans who truly understands. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a good day, and see you guys in the next video. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.